Welcome in, everybody. It is another episode of the Scarves and Spikes ratings. We are back after a really fun Easter Sunday win. Atlanta beating Chicago 3-0 at home at the Benz. So it's good. It's good news. It's a good Easter week. And now we're going to have a chat about the players. So how are y'all doing?
I'm doing good. Winning Monday as we recorded this, so can't beat that. No fooling. No fooling.
What is the... We haven't really come up with a Monday winning term. We have Wednesday for when we do our live show.
We can workshop it. Tommy, what do you think? You're quiet.
I was actually looking it up on adjectives for winning. There was nothing with an M. So there was nothing really good. There was moaning Monday, and that sounded way
definitely
too.
Not moaning.
That's
definitely not moaning.
Nope. Nope.
So I couldn't.
That's borderline.
I guess that's but also that could be sad, like you're moaning because you're sad.
Right. It could be
two
things.
But then also it could. All right, never mind. We're recording at 5 o'clock. It's too early for that. But yeah. How appropriate was it that Chicago laid an egg in Atlanta?
Yeah.
Someone had to say it.
I was so excited to say it.
I also don't have my whiteboard. So.
Oh no, get your whiteboard. We'll stall for time while you get your whiteboard.
I got it.
Okay. I didn't have to stall much.
No, you did not.
So, April Fools. I wish I had a joke for y'all, but I don't. So I'm really sorry that we didn't prepare anything beforehand. But
it's okay.
Oh, well. First off, let me just get this out there. To all the people that have been tagging me in that Atlanta United re-signed Jurgen Damm, Miguel Berry, Kubo. I open Twitter and I see this and I'm like, people don't know that I'm already tagged in it, so they're re-tagging me in it. And then I open Facebook and the guy that everybody was tagging me in their post. Then I run into it on Facebook. Hate this day. Hate this stupid day.
It really is a really frustrating day. You have to watch over your shoulder at all times on April Fools, and it sucks.
Have you ever fallen for an April Fool's joke and legit thought it was real?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'd be something significant that you saw on the internet.
I couldn't point to a specific time, but yeah, I'll be the first one to say I've fallen for some stuff, and then 2 hours later, I was like, mother.
I saw somebody post a Felipe article, and it was when Joseph Martinez was leaving, and it said Joseph Martinez, and it was supposed to say will not be returning, and there's just a white space under the not.
I thought about coming on here wearing if I had one, I was going to come in wearing an Orlando jersey.
Oh yeah,
but I don't have one because I don't support that team. So.
Well, April Fools. This rating episode, I am wearing pants.
Good to know.
Yeah.
The
more you know. The more you know as the comment goes by me.
All right. Enough dilly-dallying.
Yeah, let's do ratings.
Advertisements. Signia by Hilton Hotel. We have the She Believes Cup coming up April 6th, which is this coming Saturday. We are going to be broadcasting live after the She Believes Cup, after the doubleheader, from the Nest on 4 bar. It's on the 4th floor. Go into the hotel, go up the escalators. It dumps you off right at the bar. We're going to be there around 6:20, 6:30-ish after the two matches. We're going to have a show. We're going to chat. We're going to talk. Then we're going to transition that to talking about the Atlanta United game as they go up to not Yankee Stadium.
City Field. Go Mets.
City Field. And we're gonna hang out and watch the match. So it'll be a busy day. Y'all come hang out.
A lot of soccer.
Lots of soccer. And keep an eye on Scarves.
Is the Signia ordering WrestleMania as well?
We've not been told.
I don't know.
Hey, we'll see.
So much is going on, Sarah. I'm never sleeping.
Hey, but they have a Halo board, so technically they could.
Yeah,
that'd be cool.
Technically.
All right. First up,
ratings.
We're 5 minutes into it. We're just getting started. Here we go, guys.
Welcome to the rating show, everybody.
Welcome to Moaning Monday.
Monday.
Happy Moaning Monday.
We're not doing that.
Okay.
Saba Lobjanidze. I've seen varying opinions about Mr. Saba.
Varying opinions.
Yes.
Okay, well we know our scores are going to be good. What's the other variable?
I mean, just overrated is what I've seen.
We can't just
Whatever.
have nice things. We just can't have
Right?
nice things here. You watched Aruju for years. be terrible over there. And now we're saying
Tommy's on
Let's
his
get
first
to it.
aneurysm of the day. Here we go. 8.7 for me.
A 10 for Tommy?
yeah, because now you're
Wow.
telling me that people aren't happy about him. So now I gotta get people back on track. Give him what? Overrated. Get out of here. Get out of here. He's an 11.
And cool joke.
Yeah. No. His best performance for Atlanta United this season, and Doug asked him in the locker room, paraphrasing, does he have a chip on his shoulder after being left off the team for Georgia's Republic of Georgia, I should say, Republic of Georgia's qualifying for Euro 2024, and paraphrasing Sally said, yeah, he is. He kind of does, and of course he wants to play for Georgia in Euro 2024. Who doesn't want to play in Euro? He said. So Georgia's coach left him off the team of qualifying for not just the final 2 qualifying matches of qualifying proper, but qualifying playoffs, and Saba was forced to watch that from home. Unfortunately, Georgia qualified, but that had to have been a sinking feeling to know that he couldn't be out there with his countrymen, his teammates, to participate in that. And to quote kind of Michael Jordan, the Michael Jordan meme that we've all seen, I took that personally. And he's taken that personally. He played with a chip on his shoulder. I forget the exact mileage that he had in the match.
It was like
7.41
or something like that.
7.41 miles covered in that match. And Saba was just all over the place. He was left, he was right, he was center, he was back playing defensively. And defense has been something that he's mentioned he's been working on this season, and it showed. And I asked him about it in the locker room. I said, you were all over the place, and essentially just said, I'm just doing what Gonzalo has me to do. So his best performance, I think, in an Atlanta United uniform this season, and I would argue one of his best since coming to Atlanta United. Maybe not the best since he come to Atlanta United. Of course, he scored for the team, but probably one of his better performances in an Atlanta United uniform since he arrived, based on solely what he did the entire match on both sides of the pitch. And that's what you want to see from Saba. It's maybe not what a traditional winger does, get so involved in the defense, but he just puts in the work all over the pitch. And he was a terrific player, and I think they gave him man of the match, but probably it was Jamal that deserved man of the match over him. But he was really close to man of the match. I think really close, not the man of the match, really close.
Sub of the week.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you can't give teacher of the year to a substitute teacher.
I mean, it depends on the teacher,
Sure.
I guess. I'm playing devil's
Unless it's
advocate.
like one of
I
the
agree.
cool substitute that just lets
Right.
you sleep
Yeah,
all week.
watch a movie all
Let's
day.
do whatever. Yeah. Tyler, I believe you had the second lowest score, didn't you?
Yeah, I did, which is really weird considering I give him an 8.7. But
I heard you hate him.
I know, right? The dude was, in my opinion, the most well-rounded guy on the pitch yesterday. He did a lot of the dirty work, and I think maybe that's where there's a little bit of, I don't want to call it pushback, but I think maybe that's where you can look at his numbers, and his numbers were good. But then you look at the eye test, and he passed the eye test. I mean, we're up there in the press box, and we're watching. and even on TV you watch, and there were moments where this guy would appear out of nowhere to help out both defensively and offensively. The guy was pressing like a monster. He won the ball back multiple times just from his sheer tenacity. Being in a spot on the pitch he really had no business being in, but it was just because he's putting in the shift. He's putting in the work. And yeah, whether it's a chip on his shoulder, whether he's had one of those conversations, whether, it could be a variety of variables and factors, whatever. He had a great game. And, he put a couple of shots on target. We can go into the numbers, 6 chances created. I always laugh. We were laughing about it in the press box, but that one really good chance that Chicago had where the only line of defense was Saba and he blocked it. And then he did the whole, he was like, yeah, and you see him over there in the corner. Everything was just really good. Everything was good. And yeah, I think definitely the best performance of the season and one of the best since he's been here. I don't know. I don't see much of a problem. He could have been cleaner with, some of his duels, cleaner with passing. So could the whole team, if we want to get into that discussion.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. He found a way to make things happen when the cohesiveness wasn't quite where it should have been. That first half was really, really choppy. It was really, really weird. And Saba was still the one out there, winning the ball back and he had a great game. I don't know. I've got nothing else to say.
What did you give him again?
8.7.
Okay. I was going to, before you angered me with saying that people are just saying that he's overrated, I was going to give him like an 8.8, 8.9 from there. Look, it's so much better than what we've had for a long time, right? And, we were nervous. A few of us were nervous. I know I was, watching the preseason because we had the ability to watch most of the preseason. I thought he looked like crap. I thought he was not good. I thought that it started to make me nervous from there because you go back and think about some of the goals that were scored last year, and I think he had like a banger, and a couple of them were a few easier ones, but I was nervous that it wasn't going to transition over, right? Because we've been burned before at that exact same position. And
a little bit of PTSD.
It started off slow. Yeah. And then, the Columbus game, he was a main reason why that goal went in, and it's just like starting to just, what we do is overreact as sports fans. And the past couple games, even in the Toronto game, I thought that he looked good at points. Yeah, he didn't finish it, but he had some chances. He's doing well, and he's doing really good, and I'm glad that it's working out this way from there. And yeah, no one's ever going to have a perfect 10 out of 10 here, even though I gave it to him. But I'm happy with everything that he has. I think the concern now from everybody is on the other side of that, and that is a conversation for another day.
Cool. All right. Well said by everybody. Fought Mob. Criminal. Well, I don't know. I can't say Fought Mob is criminal and then not call Sydney criminal.
No, don't say that.
Fought Mob gave him a 7.9. But I think what angers me
I could see why.
Is when I look at other players and I'm like, how? How? And I won't say them yet, but I was like, really? Anyway.
People had too much wine on Easter, and the person in charge of that didn't really watch the
water
game.
Turned into wine.
Yeah.
All right.
They were really hopping to conclusions. Sorry,
No.
The Easter puns are like going away. I gotta get them all out there. All right,
just cycle through them while we're here.
Yeah.
This is your space.
Okay.
All right. The next one up, Jamal Thiare.
The substitute teacher.
And birthday boy.
Yes. What's happy birthday in French?
That's a great question.
Happy birthday.
Julia anniversary or something like that. I don't know how to pronounce it.
French is not a language I can tell you much about. I can do Spanish. I can partake in
Same.
other ones, but not French. All right.
Let's show it.
8.7 for me again. Oh my God.
Put 9. Tommy put Lopez, Kubo, Barry, Dom, Hazetu, Carlton.
I mean, Rob Usry tweeted this, and I thought it was just amazing. He outscored all these guys in their entire careers of Atlanta United.
But not Ronaldo Cisneros though.
No,
That's true.
Yeah.
Or Adam John. Someone called out, like, what about Adam John? No, Adam John had 3 goals. Thiago would have got the hat trick.
That's true.
That's
true.
Could have passed stupid Adam John up, but here we are. He outscored them all.
Is yours considered the low score for this one?
You could only go up from all those players. It could have been a 1. Look, I mean, the tweets were after the Toronto game, we can't get a backup striker. This is there. Like, when you're coming in late, you are going to... You don't have a lot of time to dazzle most times, right? Or in the backup situations, just like we'll probably talk about Cobb here, is that when you're put into these situations like the Toronto game, it's such a mismatch of players that you really can't show what you're made of, unfortunately, right? And here's a situation where he was able to get some extended time, obviously immediately scores a goal, which was like probably one of the fastest goals of a player. I think coming into a game, I think the only one, maybe Saba in that one game where I think he scored like immediately when he came in, like one of the substitutions last year. Like it was
There's been
a
one
few
or
seconds
two.
in.
There's been 1 or 2, over the years, but that one was fast.
Yeah.
Like it was just like you blink and it happened, and I was like, oh, okay, great. And then obviously the one with a man down, and I mean that was nice too. But I mean, I'm not overreacting and saying we have our backup, but I wasn't overreacting last week when I was saying that, or when people were saying, that this guy's a bust, right? It's just not, it's not the way it is. And, if, knock on wood, Tyler, something, did happen, or, Giacomakis is sore, this week, because I think there's a concern that, he was feeling a little rough after that game, and he comes in and is able to perform, then I'm not going to say it's an overreaction. I'm going to say that this guy could be pretty consistent with this team. But it's just hard in these situations when it's just, you're like last week, when you're just in a team that was just picked up, like you're rolling the dice on who you're putting in there.
Can he keep it up? Can he build on this confidence that he picked up on Sunday afternoon? Strikers, they need that 1 goal to get going, right? And he got 2 against Chicago. And maybe, I mean, the circumstances weren't the best because Gigi went off and hopefully he's okay, like Tommy, you're kind of saying. But yeah, this is what you want for your backup striker. And Pineda said, for the first time, he feels that though he has 2 players that can score at any point. And again, we'll need to see it from Jamal on a much more sustained basis than we did on Sunday. But, it's an excellent performance, obviously, to get a brace. Not only that, but on your birthday. And again, how can he build on that? How can he capitalize on what he did? Because if it's just today or if it's just on Sunday, I mean, it's going to be forgotten for the most part. But Tommy, you mentioned that there have been so many players at that backup striker spot that haven't performed for Atlanta United. Tito, you can say, is the best backup striker Atlanta United has had. Cisneros, maybe an argument, but he had a hat trick, and then outside of that, 3 goals. So, or 4, I should say. So, I mean, outside of that, you haven't had barely any return for your backup strikers. So, again, that's sometimes all it takes for a striker to get going. And Jamal knows he's not going to be the number 1 option, but he also knows that he also has Danny Rios on the roster as well to continue to push him. And as that competition is in camp, that's going to just drive Danny to be better. So it's going to drive Jamal to be better. And in turn, that's going to drive Gigi to be better because he's going to have to up his level of play. I mean, he's not going to have his job taken from him, but that just drives him to be better. and just stay sharper, stay more ruthless and more lethal in the attack. So great stuff from Jamal. Happy birthday to him and the performance he needed really to get himself going with Atlanta United.
Yeah, I agree with all of it. I mean, I'll also throw in there that he almost had a hat trick as a sub.
Nearly.
He had a goal called back. And he was offside.
Rightfully so, yeah.
It wasn't like it was close, but the fact that he was there, getting in the right positions 3 times to put the ball in the back of the net after Toronto was a rough match. And I totally agree, like Tommy, with what you were saying. It's hard to judge. I think he could have been better in that match, but I think the whole team could have been better, honestly. But you got a guy who came out, he immediately made an impact. And then after that goal, though, I was watching him a lot closer, and he didn't disappear in any way. He actually, he really, really put Chicago's center backs and their whole defense on notice. He was everywhere. He was all over them. He was frustrating them, and he was drawing them out of position, which is a lot of the reason why Edwin Mosquera, one of his other fellow 64th minute subs, was able to just run up and down that left side because they couldn't leave Jamal alone for too long. And then, of course, on the right side, you've got Saba doing whatever the freaking heck he decided to do yesterday. And then, of course, Brooks. And then where does that goal come from? Brooks with the cross in, and then Jamal hits it. So, yeah.
Perfect header, by the way.
Yeah, beautiful. Perfect ball in and perfect header.
Great ball, great header.
So, yeah, I agree. You can't overreact to a bad game. I mean, people forget Toronto last week was like his first real opportunity to really make something happen. And it isn't fair because you're missing most of your guys. You get a moment in this one where you have the majority of your starting lineup, and then you come in and have that kind of chemistry with all of them, then I mean, that's nothing but good. That's nothing but good for Atlanta because, yeah, it doesn't solve the issue of when they lose 4, 5, 6 guys to international break. But in the moments that you need a backup striker, when you have to let GG rest for whatever reason, to have him there, and if he can continue up something like that form that he had last night, you're doing okay. And then, yeah, Daniel Rios is just going to be pushing him to be even better. So I liked it. I liked what I saw. I like the attitude.
Yeah.
Highest rated player on FOTMob. He got an 8.7.
Okay.
So,
The
Brooks Lennon didn't get a 20.
What's that?
Brooks Lennon didn't get a 20.
Nope.
Deserved it.
I agree. All right, moving on from Jamal Thiare to one that we haven't really hit on specifically in a minute on the player rating show, but Mr. Thiago Almada.
Ooh, what's Sydney going to say about Almada?
What's Tommy going to say about Almada?
I don't know. You've been the Almada hater.
I'm not hating on him.
I see your eyes when you
put
your scores up from him.
I knew you were going to say that. All right.
I didn't write anything down. I've been too busy screwing with you.
Oh, well, we'll wait.
Okay.
7.9 for me.
7.9.
Oh man, I'm the lowest.
Low score. 7.3. Joke's on you now. Why'd you write up so low, Tommy?
I'm gonna get canceled by the Almada fan crew. Like the rest of the team, I thought they looked really off early on. You know, I saw some tweets out there that said Atlanta didn't really deserve to be winning early on, and I didn't agree with that. And Zilf, if you're listening, I'm specifically talking about you on there. But the team was off, right? But even though they were off, like the passes just seemed, it looked like a team that had not practiced together for over a week. Right. And that's exactly what the situation was. A lot of them just came back to training on Friday, I think. Yep. Like some of them were Friday.
They just got home Friday, I think. Some of them.
Yeah. So the team looked off. But while looking off, they weren't allowing many scoring chances, right? They kept winning the ball back and they kept attacking. But some of the passes just looked off. I thought that I thought Almada looked okay, but I thought really where Almada really started getting better was when Giakoumakis came off. I thought that Almada started looking better after that at that point. And if you gave me the score after that, I would have said probably like an 8.5 because I thought he was definitely the best player after that point. I thought he just looked fantastic after that. But again, everybody kind of grew into the game, but we haven't seen that that top performance from him, which is just crazy. I think I've seen other tweets like that that said like we haven't seen the best of Almada yet this season. So when are we going to get that performance? And, then what happens to this team? It gets so much better. But, yeah, I mean, nothing against him. I thought, a lot of the team just looked off early on.
Yeah, I agree. Not his best performance, but, again, much better than what we've seen from Thiago. And with time, hopefully he'll continue to improve. He had that really good pass to Thiare that Tyler talked about earlier that was called back on offside. It wasn't the goal, obviously, but the idea was there. And I've talked in the past about how Thiago tries to be the man. He tries to take too much upon himself. He tries to put the team on his back. And I think he's best when he just kind of relaxes and lets the game come to him. Teams know what he can do. Teams will play him, differently than they'll play any other player because they're confident about, or they know what he can do. They know what his abilities are. That if you give him enough space, he'll take it. It'll make you pay. So technically, teams are always going to zero in on him, and I think he needs to rest in the understanding that I know the team is going to focus on me. I don't need to be the man. I don't need to put everything on my back. There are 3 other players in the attack with me. They are perfectly capable of taking things over. You have a striker that could challenge for the Golden Boot. You have a winger who is, honestly, a terrific playmaker. I mentioned it the other day. You have another winger with a nose for goal on his day. So you don't need to do everything. Just be Thiago Almada. Just be you. Don't try to force it. Don't try to make things happen on your own. Just relax. Just let the match come to you. And that's when I think we see the best of Thiago Almada. I didn't think we saw the best of him on Sunday, but I think we saw a much better version of him than what we've seen in past matches this year. So hopefully he can pick up his form. Hopefully he can really turn into the player that we know Thiago can be. And Sunday, while not perfect with a good building spot or a good building block, now the challenge is they're going to go on the road at New York City in a ballpark, not Yankee Stadium, but ballpark nonetheless. Road performances for this team, road wins have been hard to come by. Can we see Thiago perform on the road and really help this team win on the road where they haven't been able to do it as much over the past few years?
Yeah, I think for me, he was just missing barely the goal and the assist. Because even in that first half where things were a little choppy and frantic, he was still your guy that was making things happen. And that's not to say he was perfect either, but he had 2 pretty decent opportunities in the first, 30 minutes or so. And one of them just came off of his foot wrong, and the other one, it was just about a foot and a half outside. That was it, The assists, that could have came honestly from any of his long balls or those sequences in the box. He excels in tight spaces. And there's such a fine line especially with Almada, but any player that plays that kind of ball, where you're either looking at what he's doing and you're saying, that was beautiful, that was brilliant, or you're looking at him and saying, why don't you pass the ball? Because it's a fine line. If the ball gets taken away from him, you're screaming the latter, right? I thought he was what he needed to be, and he was what we've seen last night, except for that final product. And that's not entirely his fault. I mean, I don't care who you are. Your name might be Lionel Messi, but you're still going to miss shots. You're still going to miss, chances, and that's fine. But I thought he was a little bit more of a leader. But more than anything, I think he played smarter last night. There were two that I know of, specific instances. One actually on the goal, the Jamal Thiare, the first goal, where that ball was played to him, and he's not going to go up and win many aerial duels. Just not. He's not. I mean, he's a small guy, but he uses his positioning and his soccer IQ to bring the ball down in his favor, and he does in that case. He sprays it out wide, and then that sequence is what leads to the goal. But there was another one before that where I forget who it was, but the ball got popped up in the air, and it was a potential break for Atlanta. And had he won this ball, he would have been in on goal. It would have been him versus the goalkeeper. And it was another instance where he was not winning. I think it was against Turan before he got sent off. He's not winning that aerial duel, and he didn't try to. He positioned his body around whoever it was, the defender, and actually initially won the ball. But during the kind of second ball scenario, he got kind of beat out of it and lost it. But it was those little things where he's playing intelligently, and I want to see more of that. I want to see that a lot. But I think he was feeling himself. And if he was feeling himself in this game, you just hope it carries over to New York, and he has a field day because you're playing on a tight space. You know, that's his environment. Let him cook, let him do his thing, and I think he'll have a good game.
And before you read the FOTBOB score, you know, those things that you're talking about, they don't show up on the score sheet. They don't show up in the stats. Right. It's that soccer IQ that is part of the reason why that price tag is just going to be so high whenever he does get sold. So good point bringing those up.
Yeah, and unfortunately it doesn't show, but I guess FOTMOB kind of agreed, but he got an 8.2, so higher than anyone else gave him.
Yeah.
All right, moving on from Almada to we had to talk about him, but Noah Cobb.
I looked it up. That was his second highest score of the season.
Was it?
Yeah, he had 8.7 against the Revolution. Okay. And then he had 6.8, 6.7, 7.1.
Yeah.
In the other games.
Cool. All right. No Cobb. Yep. Ooh, 7.5 for me.
7.4. That's 7.12.
I'm not doing math on this show.
7.12. Okay, 7.12. 7.12. Sorry.
No worries. I thought he was okay. I didn't think that he looked too much of... What's the word I'm looking for? Didn't look out of place there. Like, this was his first opportunity, right? His first real opportunity to play. And like my rant last week, like, look at Cobb. Look at the two opportunities that he's had to start. It's been in terrible situations. Both games on the road, both games with just a random team out there because you're missing all your best players. This was his opportunity to get thrown into a situation where, you know, you're the new guy, but everyone else around you is pretty set. And I thought that he held himself well. I think I looked earlier, like his duels, he might have been like 1 for 4, which, okay. Tyler, you got it there in front of you. So 1 for 3. Okay. I thought that he didn't look out of place. I thought it was interesting that he started over Abram. I think some of us thought Abram was going to start.
Not this guy. Sorry, I got to give myself some credit occasionally. Go ahead.
I know. But what I want, let's see what happens this week, right? What happens at Met Stadium? I was going to call it Yankee Stadium, Met Stadium. You know, what's going to happen there? Like, do they continue to give him the opportunities? Because we talked about this last week. Like, if Cobb can show that he is growing every single week, right, gaining momentum, you're not going to have Gregerson probably at least for, another 2-3 weeks. If you can continue to grow his confidence, and Pineda, the most important, gains confidence on him, then maybe you can move Abram in this transfer window to go get yourself some flexibility to improve whatever you need to improve at in the summer, whatever it is. Because, again, Like, it's just something to think about as we get towards there, as we keep being told there's no money. Even though we went out and got Rios, right? We were told there was no money, and they, took out a loan from Uncle Garber and was able to go get Rios. But it's got to be eventually the point where you're at that limit. And if you want to go continue to improve this team, there's quite a few guys that are making a decent amount of money that aren't starting. And Henry in our Discord made a good comment saying, Abram's great, right, as a backup, but we need him during international windows. But where does he go during international break? He's not here either. So your backup's backup isn't even here during that time, and that's a bad situation for Atlanta United, because you really need those backups in these situations, because the East is so tight, and if you've got to be playing your third or fourth stringers, you got to have a lot of confidence in them. And if Cobb continues to show that, get Abram out of here. I like you, Abram. Your hair's so slick, but you might have to. It's perfect every time. Like, I've tried to do that, and like I got the alfalfa. Like one will just stick up every single time. Yeah, well, one will just randomly stick up. I tried that. I tried to do the emo phase, or like the Black Spider-Man. Like, remember when he became emo in Spider-Man 3, and he like slicked his hair? Like, I'll just get one hair. I was called alfalfa a lot when I was a kid. All right,
Alfalfa. Yeah,
that's why I wear a hat all the time.
Right. Who had the lowest? You or me, Tyler?
You.
I did. Yeah, the first. I'll go here. Either way, the first quote unquote, Tommy kind of hit it. The first, say, quote unquote normal game he's played since probably last year at home against NYCFC, and yeah, he was decent. I mean, he didn't set the world on fire, but he was decent, and very mature, very good performance from him. And Pineda said he was fantastic, and he like I said, he didn't jump off the charts, but he was really composed. He didn't stand out in the negative way. We talked about against Toronto, he kind of got sucked in at that first goal toward a ball handler, and it led to a goal. And maybe he was positioned wrong defensively, and he made a move that opened up space for Toronto. You didn't see a lot of that on Sunday, and this is just the next step in his development with this team. I mean, he can only get better. He can only get better from here with more playing time, as Regazan said last night when I asked him in the locker room, what do you think of Cobb? And he said, what, the more he plays, essentially, the better he'll get. And he just needs that experience. He just needs that time on the pitch to grow, to get more used to this team, get more used to Williams. They've traded together, obviously, but this is their second time playing with each other in a regular season match. So as time continues to go on, as he continues to get that experience with the first team, mind you, as that continues to happen, he'll continue to get better. And this organization is very high on Noah Cobb. He's one of their core young players that has come through the academy. We talked about, if you want a picture of how the Atlanta United development system works, how that path to the first team works, you look at Caleb Wiley. Well, Noah Cobb can become that next player for Atlanta United, coming from the academy through to the twos, to a homegrown deal, to start at MLS. And you can see parts of why the organization and players, particularly Derek Williams, when we talked to him on Friday, are so high. I think he'll be a very good center back for Atlanta United.
Real quick, so do you think Pineda's telling us that Cobb's a starter while Gregerson's out for the rest of the time?
I don't think so. I think you'll see Abram get some starts, but I think you'll see. Well, you'll certainly see Cobb get experience for sure. You certainly see him get experience, but I don't know if he starts every game while Gregerson is gone. But again, I'm not Gonzalo Pineda, so.
Well, that was going to be my question for you. I'll give you my 2 cents in a second, but did he do anything to lose the job back to Abram?
No, not to me. Not to me.
He got a clean sheet.
I mean, yeah. And, this is the other thing. If you have Derek Williams and Luis Abram on the pitch at the same time in a 2 center back system, who do you stick on the left? Like, they're both left footed. And that's not to say that one can't play on the right. Like, that's not what it means. But, I mean, it's almost always going to be a better situation when you have a right-footed center back playing on the right and a left-footed center back playing on the left. I don't think he did anything to lose the job. He made mistakes, a couple, but they were good mistakes. And like, from a coaching standpoint, you look at a player making quote unquote good mistakes, and those are ones that you can go back in film and you can look at, and you can literally show, like, all right, well, this is what you did wrong. This is how you fix it. Now let's go work on it. It's not like a bad mistake where you just suck. That's not what happened.
That moment early in the match where you kind of got crossed up with Brad. Yeah, that's one of those moments where you can kind of say, "Hey, watch your positioning here. Communicate."
And Brad let him know very quickly.
Yeah,
very quickly. And actually, he was asked about that last night. What is it like having guys like that, back there yelling and screaming at you? And I've asked Tyler Wolf the same thing. We've asked a few players that.
That was who asked, by the way.
Yeah, I thought it was. But yeah, and he was essentially like, you know what, I don't take it personally. He even said, going back to when Joseph was here, in training, they're going to be yelling at you. And it's all because they're super competitive, highly competitive, and they just want to win. And they want to teach you how to be better. So
you can't take it personally.
No, you can't. And he's very well aware of that. And the other thing about Noah is he is fearless when it comes to being out there playing against guys, some that are twice his age almost, I think he had a good game. He had a couple of really good blocks. His positioning for the most part throughout the match was pretty good. Things that can be fixed. The mistakes that he did make, they can be fixed. And I like what I saw. And no, I don't think Pineda changes anything up. I think he's going to be the guy come next week against New York, personally. He had tons, like his numbers were solid too, like 6 clearances. He had a headed clearance, 6 defensive actions, 3 recoveries. Like his numbers back up the story, So I like it. And he's going to be here for a while.
Yeah. So
if he hasn't done anything to lose the spot, then keep giving him minutes. And I'm not mad at it at all.
Yeah. And before you get to FOTMOB, you talked about that experience against, these premier players in MLS, and he talked about it with Shaqiri specifically. Just having that experience with him on the field at the same time. Kuipers, Turan, maybe not DP, but Turan, and other players, Acosta. So, yeah, those are, known names in MLS, known quantities. Maybe not so much Kuipers because he's new to the league, but
he's been talked up, though. $12 million.
Exactly. So it's good for him to be on the pitch at the same time as those players, and you can only get more confident, especially coming with a clean sheet against players like that, regardless of how their form is.
Yeah, I agree. Screw FOTMOB, 6.7.
Oh, that's
garbage.
Low. That's very low.
I disagree wholeheartedly.
I don't buy it.
Well, we always know they're going to get one flub.
Yeah.
They're one flub.
He was the lowest one, right?
No. Nope. Guess who was?
Caleb?
Muyumba.
No, Caleb was actually pretty high. He was a 7.6. Muyumba was a 7.5.
Oh. Silva.
Nope. Silva was a even 7.
Even 7.
Running out of players.
Slish?
All right. Who?
Slish?
6.3.
No, he wasn't that bad.
I agree.
He wasn't great, but he wasn't that bad.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was maybe not one of his better games, but I don't think he was 6.3.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Before we go, we have to announce this. we are over 900 subscribers, so we really appreciate y'all support. Really appreciate everybody who has subscribed to us. There it is. Subscribe to us really from day one. Love doing this. You guys are the reason why we do it, and it's on to I almost said 10,000. Hey, let's grow to 10,000. But
let's
10,000.
Next stop 1,000. Next stop 1,000. And we really appreciate it. We really appreciate those of you who support us on Patreon. Patreon.com/Scarves and Spikes helps us do things like we're doing on Saturday after the She Believes Cup doubleheader before Lady United's match against NYCFC at the Signia by Hilton. Nest on 4th Saturday around 6:30-ish. Stay tuned to our socials for more details, but we hope to see you there. But thanks for your support on Instagram, on X, on our website, on YouTube, and yeah, only up from here.
We messed up. We
Why?
messed up bad. Because the holidays were here, and we could have told everybody on Wednesday that when they go to their parents' house or their grandma's house to log in on their YouTube account and subscribe to us. We messed this up. We missed out on a great
Next
opportunity.
time.
That's my bad.
Next holiday.
That's my bad.
No,
What's the next holiday?
Yep.
Memorial Day.
Okay.
Yeah, so
The
we got
cookout, when everyone's outside cooking, you go
Exactly.
inside, sneak in. The password, usually with older people, it's 1, 2, 3, 4 or password. Log in, like, subscribe. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
Gam gam. Thank you.
Yep. No, but thanks, guys. Really appreciate it. You guys are awesome.
Yes. Go check out the website. Like Sydney said, scarvesandspikes.com. We got a lot of content coming, both from this match and going into next match, but also She Believes Cup.
She Believes Cup.
US is here in Georgia, in Atlanta. They're going to be training up at the training ground. And you also have Japan, Brazil, and Canada.
First time since 2016, U.S.
Minute.
women's national team has been in Atlanta. So exciting times, and I can't wait for it on Saturday.
Yeah, I'm excited. So keep an eye out. And yep, it's been a good one. It's been fun. And hopefully we're looking at the first away win of the season come next Saturday. Appreciate it, guys.
So long.
Hey, look at that.
Ooh, balloons.
I don't have anything cool.
Oh,
All right.
If I open my mouth, does a poop emoji come out or something? hit the end. We got to hit this.